Did you just get a new puppy and want to learn how to potty train them quickly? I'm Justin from Total Dog, and this is our 10-week-old Belgian Malinois puppy, Elsa. In this video, I'm going to share my top 5 potty training tips. Tip number 1, we want to set up the dog for as much success as possible. There are key times when we can predict that the dog is going to have to go to the bathroom. Those times are after nap, after play, and definitely after eating and drinking. It is vitally important to create this structure and routine, especially for a young pup, because as the dog gets older, these are habits that are extremely hard to break. Tip number 2 is limiting the dog's freedom. Keep in mind, limiting the dog's freedom is not punishment. In fact, we are creating structure and routine in the dog's life. It is very hard to help a dog learn how to potty train if they have that complete freedom in their house. For that reason, we recommend keeping your dog on a leash, indoor and outdoor, because I cannot correct the dog's negative behavior if I do not catch them in the act of doing it. You want to be able to make sure that you can correct the dog when it has that accident, and when the dog does it correctly, we want to make sure that we reward them. Potty training a puppy is no different than raising a young toddler. Raising a young toddler, you do not give them free reign of the house because they can easily get into trouble. No different than a young puppy will get into trouble if you give them free reign of their house. The amount of time that will keep the young pup on leash, inside and outside, will vary. All dogs learn at different rates and speeds. It's important to understand that the dog is going to earn that freedom in your house. The more the young pup succeeds, the more freedom they earn. And tip number 3 is kenneling. It is very important to kennel train your dog, especially when it is a puppy. This will limit the accidents that the dog will have in your house. If you cannot keep your eye on the dog should be in the kennel. The kennel will also create structure and boundaries. More importantly, the majority of dogs will not go to the bathroom where they sleep. This is why having a kennel sized the right way is important. I have a whole separate video on crate training, and I'm curious, do you guys crate train? Comment below to let us know how that has worked out for you. In tip number 4, we're going to talk about regulating food and water resources. It is a fact of life that what comes in must go out. That being said, we want to make sure that we are limiting those resources. It typically takes 30 to 45 minutes for a puppy to push out waste after a feeding. If you allow your young pup to graze, meaning free watering and free feeding, it is going to be nearly impossible to potty train your young pup. The goal here is to create structure and make it more predictable when the dog is actually going to have to go to the bathroom. By having the dog on a good water and feed schedule, regulating their food, not depriving them, the dog will be able to have way more success than failures. And tip number 5 is be proactive. Don't be lazy. We need to make sure that we are monitoring what the dog is actually doing. By that, I recommend keeping the dog on leash when you go outside. Do not just have them go outside by themselves, because a young puppy like this can easily be distracted by a butterfly, by the wind, you name it. They get distracted by anything. So we want to make sure that when they go out there and they take care of business. By doing so, we'll be able to mark that behavior and let them know that they've done right. And to recap, my top 5 tips for potty training are: tip number 1, set your pup up for success by knowing when to take them out. Tip number 2, limit their freedom. Tip number 3, kennel train your pup. Tip number 4, control their food and water resources. And tip number 5, be proactive. Don't be a lazy dog owner. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to watch more videos like this and to watch our next video in this series. Thank you for watching, and train hard.